No, not at all. What should I do? It's what we expect to happen. But I want our people to be very calm. I want Biafra land to be calm, and peaceful. Calm and very, very peaceful. We are fighting to defend our people, not to kill them.
Yes.
We are fighting to defend them. That's why I'm here. Yes. And we'll continue to do so until we get victory.
Fortunately, we don't reason like that. Anybody thinking that Igbo presidency 2023 will stop us? What we want is Biafra, and what we're going to get is Biafra.
Declare no election, no 2023 general election in Biafra land. This no election in Biafra land has been activated. We are going to make it a task that must be done by every Biafran. All measures will be put in place to make sure the adequate civil disobedience is implemented to stop the election in Biafra land.
Hello, Biafrans, lovers of freedom. Another time to chat, to talk, to rub minds, to look at critical things. Another time to actually, look at what is going on with us, deep things concerning us. I want to greet you all from wherever you are, wherever you're watching from, wherever you reside, wherever you are now, whether working, whether you're not home, whether returning from work, whether rounding off what you're doing. I want to thank you for joining, and I want to say good morning, or whatever time zone you are. If you're in the afternoon, good afternoon. If you're in the evening, good evening. And if you're sleeping right now, it's good night to you, and enjoy your sleep and have a good night. And also we pray that God will wake you up in the morning and then you continue your engagements. I want to welcome you to this platform today. Today is a special day because we have entered another phase, and this is the phase where the spiritual has been released to quantize in the physical realm the particulars of what we're doing and the activities of what we're doing. I want to appreciate you all for joining. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and this is Biafra Global Network. Yes, on Biafra Global Network, we are set to, and always set to, unleash the truth and to make sure that our people receive the content of truth. And that is why we're here. And I want to enjoin you to please share this video on all your social media platforms, and also subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed, and then like this video and then submit, because we're going to be looking at very critical things today, very, very, very important things. We're going to be looking at very, very important factors and very, very important things that concerns us. I want to make you understand today that we have begun a very critical stage of operation. Very, very critical stage of operation. Most of you who listened to Mazi Simon Ekpa yesterday will know what I'm talking about. It is another stage, it is another phase, it is another dimension or another strategic position of the dimension that we are in. And right now, we're going to begin strongly to analyze these things and talk about it. Welcome and thank you for joining me in this live broadcast. Yes, yesterday we were talking and looking at critical things that concerns us, and we were trying to analyze the situation, of the zoo and the issue of election and the issue of why we cannot have a government and why we cannot vote to have a government because we don't have a nation. Governments are necessary and needed to govern a nation, and because every government is instituted on the platter of culture expressed in traditions. Today, I'm going to be coming from a new dimension, from a dimension to where we're going to be going, because I'm going to be analyzing that factor very well. The issue of culture, and at the same time, the issue of, government, especially regarding the election matter, the election issue that is trending this time, that most Biafrans and most people that are entrapped in the zoo, who are, of course, certified slaves, are actually promoting. And of course, you know that the promotion of the issue of election and the activities of the zoo is actually critical because it is one of those things that most people actually don't really understand and know what to do about because they are actually in chains. And when people are slaves, when people are chained, they tend to actually behave according to their chains. It's just like when you take a dog and you chain the dog in a particular place for 1 year, keeping the dog in a position for 1 year, you discover that the dog will begin to behave like the chain because the chain becomes part of its mind. The chain gets into his mind. And so when you loosen the dog becomes dormant and is static and is just there because it feels that has been restricted for a long time, and its mind adjusts to that position. When you take a goat and put in a place for 1 year without making it go out or come in and just put it in a place, or you put any animal in a place for 1 year, you discover that when you remove the chains and all of that, they still remain at that spot because they have been used to one particular spot. And until they realize, and to take a little time for them to realize that they have been broken and they have been taken away from that chain, and they begin to do, what they have to do. Chiji, thank you. Chiji Wonye, good afternoon, Machineke. Thank you for joining. You're the first person to comment today, and I appreciate you for joining me. And thank you so much. And please like the video and send it to other platforms so that people can join. I know people are watching from other places. Some people will watch later because maybe they're busy right now. Now, we're going to be talking critically on the issue of government, the issue of election, and then the issue of the people's mind. And then we're going to be first looking at the forces of vengeance that have been released. Now, let me tell you something. The pronouncement that Mazi Simon Ekpa made yesterday has released another dimension in our physical realm. Remember, in the spiritual realm, these things have been invoked. They have been said. But in the physical realm, we need to bring them from that spiritual realm to materialize in the physical realm. Mazi Simon Ekpa actually laid curses on those people who are actually going everywhere looking for ways of trying to kill him. We're trying to kill those who are working, in the autopilot mood, trying to destroy, trying to work against him. And he made specific pronouncements. And I want to make you understand today why I'm touching on that is because that is very significant. You see, that thing that he did yesterday is very significant to this phase that we have entered. In fact, what Mazi Simon Ekpa did yesterday is significant to the extent that it has shifted from another phase to another phase. That means we have gotten very critical in the project of the water. The project of water, that is the code that we're in. Now, remember, the project now is based on the fact that a spiritual stance have been made. A spiritual stance have been made. Mazi Simon Ekpa mentioned different kinds of people. He mentioned the fact that if he has talked against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if he has thought about taking Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's position, if he had thought about betraying Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, then let everything they are doing spiritually, those ones who have taken 4 dogs, to ritual houses or juju houses, or going to, different places, try to invoke death on him. He said, let it happen to him. But he said if he has not done anything to betray Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if he has not ever thought about taking Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's position, or if he has not ever talked about doing anything against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to put him in jeopardy or prejudice the movement and the struggle and what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have laid down, and of course to destroy the issue of Biafra freedom, then let everything they do spiritually come upon him. That is great. That is massive. That is extreme. For Mazi Simon Ekpa to come to the social media platforms in his hallowed chamber of publicity, where he broadcasts from, where he has all the facilities of spiritual, engagement, all the things that are involved in every spiritual invocation and everything that he's doing. In fact, this platform where I'm broadcasting now is very hallowed. You know why? Anything I say here is binding on me, is binding on everything I do, is a testimony against me. If I say anything right here, tomorrow anybody can use it against me. So, which means it is a testation. It is a platform of testation. It is a platform of evidences. And anything that is an evidence represents either a curse or a blessing to the people who are involved. So when I stay here to say anything to you, if what I say to you is negative or is to deceive you, then it has become a curse on me. Because now I'm speaking to you and you are replying me, or you're responding to me by viewing and analyzing what I'm doing. And if I am going to say lies to you from this platform, then definitely I've already placed a curse on myself, because I've told myself that I've come to deceive people. The people I've tried to deceive or I'm trying to deceive are humans with spirit and with their own, of course, and their own spiritual side. So when I try to manipulate them or deceive them, I actually position myself in the realm of the spirit based on the fact that I'm on a platform that is supposed to be utilized as a means of reaching out to the people in a positive or negative way. Emmanuel Afri, thank you so much for joining. Good afternoon, Mr. Kale and Bruce Harry. So, shall it be water to the enemies of Biafra, MNK and the dragon, Ekpa Simon Joko, EESN? Yes, so my brother, that is factual, that is real. He said it yesterday that if he's working against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who can say it? Can any of these criminals come out to say that? Can they come boldly and say that anything that is being done to them? Let them not come and say, if anything, let's under fire me. No, that's not what we're looking for. Let it be that you are invoking the curses and the manipulations people are doing against you on yourself. That is if you are wrong. So Mazi Simon Ekpa said, if I am against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if I have ever thought of taking his position, if I've ever thought of betraying him, if I've ever thought of jeopardizing the freedom that he stood for, then let everything that you people, that means the evil people, those ones who are going from one ritual house or one juju house to the other, bearing goats, bearing cows, bearing dogs, and sacrificing so many things depending on where they go. He said, if I do these things, then let the spirits of those things you have invoked from those shrine houses fall on me. What is as heavy as that? How much more can you know who is saying the truth? What else do you want? What other evidences do you want for you to know that he's truthful? When he says that what you are doing against him because you believe that he's going against the mandate, he's now saying that if he's going against the mandate, let what you are doing against him come upon him. He's not laying a curse on himself by himself. He said, let that curse that you are bringing upon me come upon me. So that tells you that he is very in order. That is where you see the real curse. Because when I say, if I've done this, let thunder fire me, that one is because you are saying it with your own mouth. It is more dangerous when you are saying that let what the people who are saying that I am against them, let what they think about me or what they are doing against me come upon me. It is more deadly and more dangerous. Because this time around you are invoking not just something that comes from you internally, which you can control by what you have said. You can say it, and in your mind you just say, I resist it. But this time around you are saying what they intend against you based on their wicked heart. Good afternoon, brother Hilary Becker. Thank you for joining, and good afternoon to you too. I welcome you to this live broadcast. Dikanna. Oh, blessed to you too. You are blessed too, and thank you for joining me here. I would wish that we contribute. You send your messages, you ask your questions, you say the things you need to say, and then just let's interact, because I like my broadcast being interactive. We talk and all of that. Amazing. Carlson, Absol. Is it Abba? Okay, Abasi Uba. Oba. Oh my God, please. I'm not seeing the words well from the screen. I think it's so tiny, so I can see. So I'm sorry for that, my brother. Please, in case I have missed this stuff amazingly. yeah, Dikana, he said, yes, so we are believing on what is going on, and we're believing in what God is doing, you know. And Mazin Simon Ekpa has come to do the most difficult thing that he did yesterday. Young blood, Arize, 44. Good afternoon from here too. I greet you at your location, at the times of your time zone, you know, the location of your time zone, or the time zone, or the location of your time zone. So good afternoon, and thank you for joining me. Please, let's share this on all social media platforms. Let people come and join us. Let them hear the words of truth. Let them hear the words of sacrifice and the words of truth from this platform, because what we are doing here is we are standing on the truth. I've told you, if I come here to lie to you and say anything that is a lie, or I've come to deceive you or manipulate you on the issue of Biafra, according to what Moses and Epa said yesterday too, let this platform judge me and curse me, and let whatever anybody is doing against those people who are fighting against the mandate also come upon oh, Mazi, oh my God, Mazi sir, I salute you, great job. Simon Ekpa is watching live with real account. Wow, we don't have fake account. Yes, sir. I salute you, sir. Oh my God, this is an honor. This is an honor on this platform today. Master Simon Ekpa is live here and watching with us. Oh my God, I'm honored to have him here. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you are here live, and I'm really, really grateful. I'm really, really grateful. And yes, I want everybody to please welcome Master Simon Ekpa. He's here, our great dragon, and the one who is actually piloting us into this great cause of freedom, and the one who is actually making this thing very interesting to us, and making us understand the spiritual implication of this this cause of freedom, because everything that he has been doing have actually impacted on many of us, and we have all come out this time around to see that yes, we are standing tall in this regard. And Master Simon Ekpa, I tell you, we are behind you. We are strongly behind you, and we are strongly ever behind you. And of course, according to the dictates of Chukwu, you will definitely succeed as much as God has ordained it. And that is why we keep praying for you every day and keep putting you in our prayers. And every curse they have made, thinking that they are going to get you or they are going to bring you down, shall never, never come, because we know that you're on the path of truth. And for you to go as far as using their own curses against yourself, because we know that their curses are based on spiritual arrangement. They have gone to shrines where truth is supposed to be established, and they have made these things certain in those shrine places. They have made these invocations, they have made these enchantments, they have made these utterances and all of that. They have said all of these on platforms that are spiritually inclined. That simply means that you are invoking those things to yourself. That means you are actually on the path of truth. So anybody who is doubting now will know that truthfully you are on the path of truth, because you are not invoking the curses that you are making for yourself. You are now you are invoking the curses that they have made for you. That is significant. That is very, very significant. Anybody who could summon that courage to invoke the curses other people are making on them as to be real when they actually are against a particular order, then it simply means that that person is a huge one. And our people must understand this. That's what I've come to make Biafrans understand today. That's why I said the title said the force of vengeance released, because that particular broadcast of yesterday made by Mazi Simon Ekpa is significant to the whole cause of movement, the whole cause of the fight for freedom now, because it has unleashed a pattern that is consistent. You know why? They invoked a curse on him, saying that he's against the freedom. They invoke a curse against Mazi Simon Ekpa. They say he's against the freedom. They say so many things, and they invoke curses, and they invoke death. Now he comes again to endorse what they say, if he is actually against the freedom, if he is actually against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if he is actually against the mandate of freedom, and if he has ever thought about taking the place of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, or ever fought against the freedom of the people, if he is not real, he says whatever they have invoked in a spiritual corner, or on a spiritual template, or on a spiritual shrine area, or whatever it is, or a journey of darkness they have gone, whatever they have said in those places, as much as it is on a spiritual template, should fall on him. Now he says, let these things fall on me. I accept them. I accept the cross. Let the cross be on me. But if I have not done any of these things, then let the crosses go back to you. because you actually invoke these things for truth to be established. The reason why these things are invoked is for truth to be established, which means if this thing gets at me, it simply means I'm not truthful. But if this thing gets back at you, it means that I'm truthful and you're not truthful. So now you see that a spiritual order have been opened. A spiritual order have been opened. So this is an evidence. I'm passing this message to those people who have been doubting, especially those e-frogs. Those e-frogs, I explained the concept of e-frogs to you all. I said, if you call them e-rats, that means you are giving them credence because they can come and destroy your materials. They can come and destroy. E-rats can destroy your documents, even your certificate. But frogs cannot do anything. All they do is hop from one post to the other, one platform to the other, and make noise. That is what frogs do. They hop and make noise. They make irritating sound. So that's why I call them e-frogs. So when I say e-frogs, I'm referring to these defunct members of the DOS and their e-frogs and all of them. Now, if I'm passing this message to them, for those e-frogs that are actually misled, because there are some people who are actually truly, very strong in what they are doing, knowing that the truth, but they actually want to be mischievous, and because of envy, greed, and jealousy. But I'm talking to those ones now who actually are, connected and who don't know, who are being misled. Those people who have this dilly-dallying mindset, who are, easily misled, who are tossed here and there like the wind, like something like chaff, when when the wind comes on the chaff, it goes like that. I'm talking to those people. Now, Mazi Simon Ekpa has given you a very strategic template that you can run with now, so that you can save yourself from the disaster that is coming on the people who are actually fighting the truth, so that you will understand that the truth is actually significant. Now, one thing you have to understand about truth is this: truth is universal because the world was created on truth. The cosmos was designed by truth, because whatever brought about life must be truth, because revelation of truth is in creation. So if truth is static, stational, revelational, and evidential, then it simply means that lies is negative, contrary to everything I've said. That means when you want to talk about truth, you must look at nature and what it represents. Just like I will look at a pawpaw tree and say, this is pawpaw tree. You also look at pawpaw tree, you say, this is pawpaw tree. That is evidence of truth, because our mindset tells us the same thing and gives us the same information and passes the same information of what that particular thing is, and actually makes it real to us. And then true, we can now testify, you testify, I testify, that this is a pawpaw tree. So that means that truth is static, truth is significant, truth is unmovable, and truth is evidential, because you can see it, you can feel it, you can have it, and all of that. But let me tell you something about lies. Lies is the contrary to everything I've designed right now. So which means that if you want to evidentially have truth manifest and know what truth is all about, you must see truth in the light of what the spiritual have designed about it. Now, if you know that the world was designed by a spiritual force that is higher than you and I, a spiritual force that is resident in Mysteria. What is Mysteria? That's mystery. That means the realm where things are designed, and the realm where you need to search into to actually get the facts of life. If you want to understand the evidential truth about what is existent, then you must think of the contrary aspect of it, which is lies. So now, when you want to see how lies can be unreal and intangible and not evidential, then you must look at the evidence of truth and what it stands for. So when you see all of that, then you can begin to understand when we talk about reasoning. When we talk about reasoning. Now, when Mazi Samuel will tell you we reason, Mazi and Namikano will say we want our people to reason. The reason why you need to reason, is because in the context of reasoning, you will plunge your mind, especially when your mind is free and not corrupted. When you reason, you plunge your mind into a spiritual dimension of mystery. In that place of mystery, you begin to have a revelation of the things you need to know based on evidences that the Spirit will bring into your natural mind. And that comes through intuitive reasoning. And that comes because the intuition is that aspect of you that is real, but is not consciously, real in the sense of naturally real. That means you can't feel it in reality, but you can see it in the realm of the spirit. So your spirit man or your mind taps into it and draws that information into your natural self. And in the place of your natural self, you begin to now explain and begin to understand some things. Now, for those e-frogs, I want to advise you. Now, reason over the things that Mazi Simon Ekpa said in the last night's broadcast. Reason over them. Forget about anything they have told you before. Just reason over it. Now, the reason how I'm going to let you understand how you're going to reason here is this. Do you know how you're going to reason it? Now, first, what you're going to do is this. Think about the curses, the evil these people are plotting, and the places they are going, all the ritual houses they're going, all the negative houses they're going, all the places they're going to do their juju. Think about those places. Now, think about what those places represent. Those places represent the order of spiritual and physical, dimension. That means they stand in between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. So, which means that anybody who goes to the house of juju against anybody is actually invoking the physical person based on what they think the physical person have done, and they are invoking that physical person into the spiritual realm where everything is known. Now, remember, I told you that the spirit of man is that aspect of man that knows, and the spirit of man is connected to mystery or mysteria. That means the realm of mystery. But the physical man, the mind of man, is that aspect of man that feels. So the physical, which is that aspect of man that feels, which is connected to the body, that is where the body helps the mind to feel. Because everything that your body does, your mind feels it. That is why if you put somebody in, that is why you'll see those people who are one Nigerianist. The reason why they behave the way they behave is because their mind has been restricted based on the fact of the things they have felt or the things they have experienced. The pains, the hunger, the strife, the suffering, everything that is happening to them, these things make them forget, or these things take the toll over their minds. So you see them behave because their minds have been captured by the things that they have felt. So if the mind of the man is what feels and the spirit of the man is what knows, then it simply means that for the mind to feel right, the mind must connect to the spirit that knows. Am I correct? Good. So you have come to terms with that with me now. The spirit of man must then speak to the mind of the man so that the mind of the man can feel what the spirit is interpreting. If the spirit is interpreting the right thing to the mind of the man feels that thing. But when the mind of the man has been corrupted by activities and actions around them, they begin to have a premonition of themselves. They begin to act in a way of themselves. They begin to do things in a way of themselves. They begin to take actions that is of self, which means they take actions that are physically represented rather than spiritually motivated. Please, I want you to get this lesson because I'm delving into the spiritual realm. That's why the topic is the force of vengeance released, so that you can understand how vengeance is released, so that you can understand how the spiritual and the physical work, so that you can understand that what Mazi Simon Ekpa did yesterday is significant for every e-frog to begin to take lesson and to learn some good things. Because if they don't take it into cognizance, and if this thing has come out this way, and the force of vengeance is in rampage, they are going to go down with this force of vengeance. Because force of vengeance helps you to realize where you have erred and gives you an opportunity to correct yourself, so that you don't get into when Moses said that there's going to be the painting of them, the side, the post of the houses, the Israelis must apply the blood of the animals on the post, so that when the angel of death comes, he will pass over them. Moses was trying to make them understand something deep. You are going to use something that's as bloody as blood. As bloody as blood, which means that you kill an animal representing blood, atonement representing sacrifice, representing the highest level of atonement you can make, and that blood becomes an evidence on your signpost. That means on your physical disposition, because the signpost represents their physical housing or their physical covering. I want to open some stuff here. Now, that signpost you talk about, that Moses said that they should put the blood on, represents their physical disposition. Their physical side represents their physical nature, represents everything they can imagine in the physical. So when he tells them to rub it on their physical side, he's trying to make them understand that this spiritual material, which the blood represents, which is a point of reference or a point of oath taking, or a point of covering, a point of covenant, which the blood represents, is going to be put on your physical self, your physical mindset, your physical covering. Because your physical covering is like your body, like your flesh. Now you rub it on yourself. That means when they are rubbing that thing on their signpost, They are saying that they are connecting their physical evidence to the spiritual representation which the blood covers or which the blood interprets. Now, in this point, now these things now are now explained. Now, how do I mean by that? Now, as soon as they painted that blood on the house or on the signpost, of their doors, the angel of death, which is from the realm of the spirit, which carries out the dictates of the spirit, which the blood itself is atoned for. Now remember, the blood was sacrificed for a particular cause. Those people who have gone to ritual houses, those people who have gone to places to curse Mazi Simon Ekpa or to invoke death on him, actually sacrificed things. Am I correct? It's either they sacrifice chicken, it's either they sacrifice blood. Cow. They sacrifice goat. They sacrifice pig or dog. You heard when Mazi Simon Ekpa talked about 4 dogs and all of that. Blood was sacrificed. Blood is a representation of both spiritual invocation and physical manifestation. So what they did in those shrine houses is that they actually invoked the spiritual using a material, which is the blood, that can easily link to a spiritual source to bring about what the spiritual can actually manifest in the physical. So they bring this thing into reality, and then they make the invocation. Then they send the spirit of death. Now, but do you know something about this kind of actions? Just like scripture says that a curse without a cause cannot stand. That means when you curse and there's no cause for that curse cannot manifest. Because spiritual things or spiritual vengeance forces only can effectively apply or bring about the manifestation of a curse only when the cause of that curse is genuine. That means that curse must first have an undertone of physical evidence that it actually has a tune which has been carried out in the physical. So, for instance, when you say that Mazi Simon Ekpa has sold our leader, or Mazi Simon Ekpa has collected money from the Fulanis, or Mazi Simon Ekpa has collected money from the politicians, or Mazi Simon Ekpa has collected money from anybody, has sold Mazi Nambikano, has done any of these things, then the only way the spiritual forces can actually be able or potent enough to actually deal with Mazi Simon Ekpa is when those things are true. That is the spiritual evidence of these things. Now, this spiritual evidence, of course, is manifested in the realm of the mind, which actually feels. So this feeling that comes in the realm of the mind becomes an evidence by physical manifestation. That means the body, the physical, seeing it. That means the money he collects becomes the evidence. The discussion, the text message or whatever voice message becomes the evidence. And all of these become evidence of that fact that he must have compromised. But since there is no physical evidence or any physical pronouncement, any physical voice message, or any physical attestation to that, or even him himself saying that if there is any physical evidence, then let what you have done that is linked to the spiritual or monsteria that has the power to actually deal with matters that concerns the physical, let it come on me. And that simply means that he has actually, in fact, for him in that position, who is the subject matter, to invoke that spiritual ordinance that have been designed by these juju people who have gone to the juju, for him to be in the center of the whole thing as the subject, invoking those their forces to come on him if he has erred, simply means that he actually has taken a drastic step. He has taken a bold step. He has taken a step that is deadly. Now, let me tell you something. This bold step and this deadly step would only become evidently real and evidently real because he actually has facilitated it by his own words. That means he said, if this thing has happened to me, if this thing has happened, or if I've done this thing, then let this come on me. That means he's facilitating it. If that thing has been slowed by his utterances alone, it will facilitate it on himself. Okay, I'm seeing what Lolo the lady said now. Mazi Kelechi, please always immerse yourself in the Lord. It seems anytime MSC recommends anyone, those evil people will start the attack. You know, I made a promise here. I told you people yesterday that I am dedicated to the support of Mazi Simon Ekpa with my life, and dedicated to the mission which God has called Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to also with my life. And I am dedicated. Nobody can take my life. Nobody can take any of their lives. Nobody can take the life of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or Mazi Simon Ekpa. Nobody can take our lives. We are dedicated to the cause, and I am subject to them, and I'm responsible for promoting what they do. And that is what I've dedicated myself. So anybody who thinks that they're going to come with any kind of inducement or any kind of attack or any spiritual attack or take my name to anywhere or juju house or anywhere, they are just going to fail. Because just like Mazi Simon Ekpa said yesterday, you know, his conscience is clear. And as much as he is clear, you can't get him. It's not possible. He has come physically to prove it, that he's clear. And by every evidence, there's no physical evidence, because the people who are even doing these things don't even have any physical evidence. You know, they don't have any physical evidence. So if they don't have any physical evidence, then how do they have, what do they present to the spiritual as an evidence? Because the spiritual requires is an evidence. The spiritual requires an evidence. So if the spiritual is asking for evidence, just like when the spiritual came against the people, you know, and wanted to kill the firstborn of Egypt, they came and they were looking for evidences. Anywhere they see the blood sacrifice, they pass over it. That means this place is clean. But wherever they don't see the blood evidence, they go in there and kill the firstborn. The spiritual vengeance forces always work with evidence. Biafra, thank you so much. You say you're here for Mazi Simon Ekpa. Of course, this platform is meant, or is also part of Mazi Simon Ekpa's platform, because here we are with promoting and publishing everything. You know, because the autopilot mode that we are in is actually strongly connected to the force of freedom, which Mazi Simon Ekpa is taking us all into, lifting the hands of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So we are here for the truth, and this platform is dedicated to the truth. And every time you are welcome here, because we are going to always speak the truth. Monitor anything we say. Check my videos, everything from the beginning to the end. There's nothing that goes contrary to the truth. The reason why I decided to come all out with my face is because after Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, and he has been asking for 100 men, and we were all in pain. And then suddenly Mazi Simon Ekpa came up and began to deal with these matters, and we now begin to see what God is using to do. He now gave us courage. So that courage that he gave us is what is connecting us to him. The courage I'm speaking on right now is connected to Mazi Simon Ekpa, because his courage motivated that spirit in me. That courage possessed me, possessed every other person who is under the autopilot media, and we all decided that we must take this no matter what it costs us. I know how many messages I receive every day. You know, people sending messages telling me that we're going to come for you, we're going to do this, you know, and of course people start trying to track my number, trying to track my phone. So we know all of this, but we are not shaken, because we know that we are set for freedom. We are not joking. We are here for freedom. We are here for freedom. So, mind you, nobody, yes, I keep praying, because we must drench, according to Lolo, the lady, I must drench myself in prayers. I keep praying every day. Thank you so much. I'll keep doing that regularly. You know, because our boast is not in ourselves. Our boast is in the Lord. So we keep boasting in the Lord, because we know the Lord is securing us as much as we pray. So thank you so much, Lola, the lady, and I'll keep doing that. You know, truth don't hide. Yes, Emmanuel, truth can never hide. You know, and so now I told you that there must be a physical evidence, but now there's no physical evidence. These people who have gone to all the Dibia and all the places where they have gone to do charms, they have no physical evidence. So the spirits that were invoked in those shrine houses couldn't manifest themselves, couldn't act. Over seven months right now, Mazi Simon Ekpa is still there, strong, waxing strong and doing great. So these forces now couldn't act, because there's no physical evidence to actually motivate or actually make them implement the curse that were brought through those sacrifices. Now, Mazi Simon Ekpa now comes out and says, to make this thing that you have done work, let me make it better for you. Let me make it easy for you. And how I'm going to make it easy for you is that what I'm going to do is that I am going to, I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say the things that you have gone to the shrine houses that I did. I'm going to say them out to Biafrans. I'm going to say it to the public, because from the mouth of 1-2 witnesses, the truth is established. So I'm going to say it to the public and let the public hear. And then I'm going to invoke those curses that you invoked in those shrine houses upon myself, if I'm guilty of any of them. And then maybe because maybe I need to become the physical evidence that this your shrine needs. Maybe this your shrine houses needs me to say the things myself so that they can be real. so that they can come upon me. So let me say them now. I'm going to say them to Biafrans. I'm going to say them to the world, so that the world will hear me and become an evidence and a witness to what I'm saying. If these things, I have done anything against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, if I've done anything against Biafra movement, if I've come against any of this stuff, if I've come against any of this stuff, let all this invocation that you have done, that the spirit has halted, that the spirit is not yet carrying out, let them come upon me. But if I've not done them, because the spiritual needs physical evidences, that's why they say it's a curse without cause cannot stand. That's what God said in scripture. A curse. I'm trying to remember where it is in the scripture now. I'm going to get it. If I get it tomorrow, I'm going to post it to you. A curse without cause. Now, what is cause? The cause is a physical evidence. The curse is a spiritual program. The curse needs the physical evidence to become activated. When there's no physical evidence, the spiritual curse is stalled, is stuck, hovers around, and cannot manifest, because it needs a cause which is physical to actually manifest. So someone now comes and says, okay, I'm going to help you now. Since the curse you have made, the curses you have sent, and all the invocation is stalled because it needs a physical evidence to prove it. Now I'm coming out because I'm the subject of your shrine movement, your movement to the kingdom of darkness, to the places of darkness, to the dark world, to do some stuff against me. I'm the subject. So I'm going to come out now so that I'll make it easier for you, so that your curses can locate me. But the only way your curses can locate me is if I'm guilty, because I am now the physical evidence they need. So they are going to search me and see me. If they see anything that you have said I've done that made you go to the shrine to invoke those curses on me, when they see me physically now and search my heart, because the spiritual search the heart, they go into the heart and they search me, and if they find an evidence, then let their curses fall on me immediately. So he comes out and makes that invocation. And let me tell you something, that the worst thing that can happen to anybody is for the innocent to come out to say things that are against them, which you have done against them, and they are not true. And they come out to speak on that, in that regard, to declare that if this thing is true, let it fall on me. If it is not true, let it fall on you. As soon as that was done yesterday night, a spiritual system, the spiritual tempo changed. And that is why you see that the topic here is the vengeance of the force of vengeance released. And most of the things that will begin to happen spiritually now will be very disastrous. Because now, by his coming out to say what he's going to say, what he has said, he has actually invoked the forces of vengeance to take. Now, when you hear of the force of vengeance, they are actually spiritual force that moves from generation to generation. They are the ones who keep the records of spiritual activities based on physical evidences. So that is why you see that in families, you see that sometimes you see that when something that runs in the family. For instance, when you heard the story of Joseph and David, when he took Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, and all of that, suddenly there was a curse. You know what the curse did? When God now sent Nathan to lay the curses and all of that, what happened? His own son, Absalom, took all his wives and slept before his wives in the face of all Israel. Do you know what propelled that? Absalom didn't do that in his own eyes. Absalom did that because there is a propelling force, a vengeance spirit. There's something called vengeance spirit. It carries curses from one generation to the generation because it has records of physical evidences of the originality of that offense. So everybody who comes in that lineage becomes cursed by the curse. So anybody who is going to be saved from that curse must take an appropriate spiritual step to get rid of themselves. That is why it's most times some things we do, sometimes we wonder why we did them, or some things that have befall us, we don't know why they befall us. Sometimes they are propelled by vengeance forces. So now for these DOS and sacked DOS members and all these people who have gone to juju houses to do all of these things and have invoked a spiritual order against themselves because of an innocent man they are accusing, Mazi Sawaneba, what they have done is that they have invoked a curse that is now a subject of spiritual reference, which the vengeance forces will use in their lineage. In their lineage, it doesn't stop. Unless in that lineage, some people begin to identify these crosses and begin to take appropriate steps to reverse the cross. Because in the lineage of both Muhammad Abbas, Chike Idoziem, this other guy who's coming everywhere saying that this one that Bridget Okafo and Co are sponsoring, all of them will now begin to face, including Bridget herself, all of them now, they have invoked this force as much as Simon Ekpa have said that if he doesn't, if I've not done any of these things you're saying, and now let these things go back to you, what happens is that curse, that vengeance force will pick up that word, or has picked up the word, and is going to implement it in all their families, including in their lives. So every one of them will begin to see and feel that heat. Let me tell you something. It's very dangerous for you to begin to stand against somebody who has been appointed by the Spirit and they are innocent. That is why sometimes when we are doing things, we should be very careful. I don't know why these people, I don't know why envy and greed and hate would drive people to begin to take spiritual steps that they cannot control. Because what these people have done is they have taken spiritual steps. I see one man here, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is dead, so I don't know why Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is dead, so I'm not going to take your post here seriously because Michael Jackson is dead. So as much as Michael Jackson is dead, so also you are going to be dead. Because for you to come here and call Mazi Simon Ekpa a criminal, you have already come into a dedicated platform for spiritual truth in spite of the evidences. That means you are one of those people who have been signed to be killed. You have been one of those who have been signed to be killed by the spiritual. In fact, you are one of those who have been signed to actually receive your death quickly, just like Pharaoh's heart was hardened. You see truth and you want to fight the truth. So as much as you, that Michael Jackson love, whatever you call yourself, and I've come here to say Mazi Simon Ekpa is a criminal, you have already signed that. You have already signed your death, because you have already put yourself in the wagon of those people who actually went to the shrine houses. If you have not gone, that means you have put yourself in that wagon that is taking them to their place of death. That means in your own family too, the spirit of death is going to flow, and that spirit of vengeance. It might not come by physical death, but it's going to come by spiritual torture you to the place of frustration and all of that. So if you think that spiritual things are things you can joke with and you just come up anytime and just pop up and begin to say anything you like, then you have put yourself in a place that's what the hell you're going to face in this life is going to be massive. So because I want to use this as a means of talking to those people who actually are thinking of towing the same line. Be careful. Those of you who are not understanding spiritual things. You see, our generation has become so lousy that we take for granted spiritual things. We take for granted spiritual things. That is why before I follow, I make sure I make my research very well. As soon as I get the facts right, I follow. And I know, as much as I know it's truth, I follow. And so that any curse that comes with it, because I know there's a spiritual order. Do you think you are living because you are just living physically? There's something that's making you alive. You don't know that thing is spiritual. That thing is, as much as that thing is higher than you, it is spiritual. As much as that thing that is keeping you alive, this air you are breathing, you are just one under ordinary flesh. Ordinary heart is beating. What is making the heart beat? You look at the heart, you don't see what is making it beat. But there's air you are breathing air, and something is keeping you alive. And you think it's ordinary, and you want to come out and say anything you like because you think that you are in a free world, or because you think that as they say, contemporary world, now we're in a free world, anybody can choose to live, do whatever they want to do. Yes, so Michael Jackson died in 2009 June. This one that has come, he says he's Michael Jackson. He actually symbolically gave himself that name because that is going to be his portion. For him to come here and say that in this hallowed chamber of truth, he has already signed his own death warrant. Lola, the lady, thank you so much for that. Sometimes we take spiritual things for granted. We are here for truth. We are here for freedom. We are here for our freedom. And that is why, thank God for what Mazi Simon Ekpa did last night. I so much love it. When I was listening to it, I was so much pleased. We needed a spiritual stance on this matter. And that is what have been released yesterday. We on our own have been making our spiritual, spiritual stance, praying and saying, Lord, all those people who are against this and all of that. But as much as Mazi Simon Ekpa has been positioned to sit in the place of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu until he's out, and then the two of them will lead us into this freedom, because the autopilot mood is spearheaded and controlled by Mazi Simon Ekpa based on the blessing of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That's why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that the autopilot mood has been released. And funny enough, interestingly, the spiritual level or the spiritual powers invoked in these evil people to actually name that autopilot. They didn't know that Mazinam, they kind of named it in a prayer because they are too blinded to prayers, because they are very careless. They live I don't care life. They are not concerned about details. They were not quick to observe that Mazinam Dekano actually projected it in a prayer. But because they don't listen to prayer, once it's Mazinam Dekano is still praying, they'll just put off the phone. Then when he starts speaking, they will now begin to listen. And some of the things he speaks, they don't even listen, because if you listen to their utterances and all of that, most of the things they say, they don't even know what Mazinam Dekano have said. They don't even know what it stands for. That's why they come all out. Now I'm looking at all these e-frogs. All these e-frogs everywhere, jumping from one platform, like Michael Jackson have jumped here as an e-frog, to come and say what he's not supposed to say, bringing curses on himself. E-frogs everywhere saying what they don't understand. Now the truth here is this: once you get yourself in, what the scripture says, once you break the edge, the serpent will bite. That is a spiritual word that most people don't understand. When you break the edge, means that when you go into error, the serpent will bite, means that the forces and the curses that would actually go in manifestation with that error that you have done will strike. Will definitely strike. If you go and attack a snake, you see a snake and you go and match step on it, you are going to be beaten by it. So you must understand what you do and how you do it. You must understand what you do and how you do it. I can see the replication. Okay, let me see what I can see the replicate of RCA himself here. My brother keeps okay, you're talking about a Raphael Chiamaka Ajiri. Thank you so much. And let's go. Is it let's go? Latigo. Let me see the name. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. AO, let's go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much. So we are set to move. We are not here to joke. So if you want to put yourself in spiritual danger, keep talking anyhow. Because if you keep talking anyhow, you're going to mess yourself anyhow. That is why God said to Israel, through his servant, he said, choose ye, I have placed before you life and death. Choose ye life. He advises them to choose life. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Those who love it, eat its fruit. So when you see yourself making a decision to talk rubbish, you know that you have made yourself to choose between life or death. Because choosing between life or death, that is why you see when things happen to something, you say, oh God, but this person has been a Christian. This person has been going to church. This person believes in God. Why this? Why that? You don't know some things we make ourselves. We get involved with what we say and the actions we take. You can imagine all these people now who are going to all these Jew houses trying to kill Moses Amanepa. And this is somebody who is standing on the truth. In fact, if you look at everything he's doing, you discover that it quantizes with the order of a dragon flag. Is it that our people don't understand what dragon flag means? Dragon flag simply means force. Simply means force. What is force? Expression of power to get what you want. Expression of power. Expression of power. Based on what you are set to achieve. That is what force means. Expression of power based on what you are set to achieve. Now, in this context, what we are set to achieve is freedom. So when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu raised the dragon flag, what he did was he expressed the force of power based on what we are set to achieve, freedom. That is why ESN was established, because ESN will take care of the forces that come against the force that we are given. ESN will withstand the physical army of the forces of what is standing against us, standing against what we are actually forcefully about to take. Nnamdi Kanu, I thank God for you people. This is doing this great. That is doing this work for us. Okay, onye wine goziegi. Okay, onye wine goziegi for us. Thank you so much. Yes, we keep praying for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Keep praying for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Let me see this post. Let me see if you have not quickly go and subscribe KNS YouTube channel. It is a legitimate weapon of civil protest against KNS, who has betrayed the trust and respect of Autopilot. Biafrans and began. Yes, you know, one thing about this has brought me into my mind something. You see, when people get themselves, when you see, you know people when they are actually given position, you know, and when they are actually given an opportunity. King Solomon actually has messed up. He has found himself. We pray that his soul will be retrieved and he will retrace his steps. We don't intend anybody to die, but we want him to understand that as much as he has gone against the spirit, he's going to receive the water of the spirit. Nothing can change it. As much as Biafrans reject you, once they reject you, just know that you have gone contrary to the spirit. And as much as he has been, just like this sacked people of the DOS and their e-frogs. Now you can imagine the extent. Now, what would make somebody go to shrine against an innocent man without first consulting and knowing his facts? When he doesn't, some of them don't understand the spiritual implication of what they are doing. So that is why you see that when they go into all of these things, they just go into all of it because they are blinded by their greed, by their selfishness, by their evil, and by the things that they actually think of getting. Most of them has been milking the Biafran people, taking the resources of the people, you know, and all of that. What they have been doing all this while is that they have been working the people, stealing the monies of the people. That is what they have been doing all this while. So the spiritual place of what we are doing cannot be toyed with. Let me tell you something. That thing that Mazi Samanepa did yesterday, that pronouncement he made yesterday, has changed the spiritual order of everything. And Biafrans will begin to see the evidence. Dikanna said something. Let me see. I watched this glossy exegesis program in the evening. Stay strong, sir, and always stand for truth. Have a nice day. Thank you so much. Okay, I watched this. Okay, I'll watch this in the evening. Okay, maybe you're trying to say you're going to watch it in the evening. Thank you so much. I will stay strong and stand for the truth at all times. And I want to thank you all who are contributing, who are saying your mind and who is talking. I want to thank the dragon himself, our spokesperson, Mazi Samanepa, who is also, you know, watching live here. And also, you know, he actually has done us proud, and we are happy, you know, and we are happy for what he's doing. And we are really grateful to him for the work he is doing. And that is why I am here today, to actually buttress on what he did last night. Basically, I wanted to speak on something else today, but the Spirit just told me today, go on and buttress to the minds of the people so that they can understand the spiritual implication of what they do. Because through this means, we can save many people, and at the same time, through this means, we can condemn many people. Because when this truth comes out, whenever we speak the truth, it does two things. People are either saved or they are condemned. You know, that is why God told Jeremiah that go tell them this. If they refuse to listen, then your words have condemned them. But if you don't tell them, then the words will condemn you because you actually refuse to tell them the truth. So when you see us preaching the truth this way, we're actually speaking to free ourselves of condemnation, and at the same time trying to save those people who should be saved so that they don't get condemned and get themselves into trouble. So that is why we're doing what we're doing. We want everybody to be saved. And that's why we're telling those people who have deviated and who have fallen, those people who have joined themselves and become e-frogs, everywhere, jumping on every platform, looking for where they're going to oppose the truth. We're telling you something spiritual is coming against you. So you have to get yourself back on track by reasoning. Don't let envy and jealousy becloud your mind. Don't let envy and jealousy becloud your mind, or else you're going to find yourself in a serious spiritual mess, and your generation too will get into that position and get destroyed. So you must understand these things and understand these things in truth, and then know what we're standing for. So we're telling you here now that the truth about spiritual order is based on the fact that you need a physical evidence, which is the cause to actually effect the curse. So every of the things they have done in the realm of the spirit, which stood against Mazi, which they said will stand against Mazi Samanepa, cannot stand because there's no physical evidence to that. And the person who is involved, Mazi Samanepa, have come out to say that these things that you have said should come upon me, according to what you have said. According to what you have said. Now, I want to understand spiritual implications here. That's what I want to make our people understand today. I actually want to make every one of us understand spiritual implication, especially when it comes to spiritual things. I have told you that spiritual issues require physical evidences to actually manifest. So if you are going to any shrine to want to invoke curses on anybody or want to do anything against anybody, you must be very, very careful. First, make your research. First, make your findings, because you might just be plotting your own death. You might just be plotting your own death. You might just be plotting your own death. You can imagine how our people are destroying themselves. You can imagine how our people are destroying themselves. Those criminals they are gone. They are gone. But we are praying that their souls will be saved, because what is coming for them is going to be brutal. You know, what's coming for them is going to be brutal. I long ago knew that Master Samanekpa is whiter than snow. Those evil men and women in the DOS, the name of DOS, standing against our supreme leader, Master Samanekpa, they are all gone for good, because their going away is our blessing. When Pharaoh died in the Red Sea, his going away was for good. But when God gives you the time to free yourself and get saved, that is why such kind of preaching that we're doing now is coming. Because what we're trying to do is to try to make you also think back and retrace your steps. Those of you, your job is to be threatening people. I don't know why I don't know what they think they are. They keep threatening people. I don't know why people just think that they are so powerful. How can people be so blinded by their wickedness, by their diabolic mindset? They become so blind that all they see is threats. They don't see the implication of their threats. They are blinded. They are blinded to the fact. Let me tell you something. A spiritual order has been opened. You see, the confession, the utterances of Master Samanekpa last night has brought about a new dimension. I'm going to continue my other teachings, some other time. Tomorrow we have our guest, Prince Ezem Ihanacho. He'll be coming here 1 p.m. Biafra time. Prepare yourself, because you're going to hear more. You're going to hear some things that will blow your mind. He's going to be here. Those of you who have been following him, you know what he has been talking about. You know the things he has been saying. We have been touching some spiritual things. That is why what we're doing here is we're teaching core values, spiritual things that will change your life and change your perception. Let me tell you something. Spiritual order and spiritual activities have changed course this time around. For that pronouncement Master Samanekpa made yesterday, he actually has designed the whole spiritual order, because he, being the subject matter in the whole thing, in the whole scenario, have come all out to lend his voice to the spiritual vengeance forces. Because these spiritual vengeance forces now have seen him, have tested him, have seen him as an evidence and as a subject matter. Now, him coming out again to help them project what they have said in the realm of the spirit means that he has significantly facilitated that curse. Some of you will be wondering what will begin to happen from now. You might not see people falling down dead physically, but you're going to be seeing, you're going to be seeing some spiritual actions that would tell on these people to the extent that you will be shocked. You'll be very shocked. It is not until when God told Adam and Eve that they are going to die when they eat the fruit. Did they die physically? Some of them didn't die physically. They didn't die physically, but they died later. But they suffered the consequences before the death. That means the invocation of yesterday by Master Samanekpa will make them suffer. They will see death. They will be wishing death. They will be wishing. Some of them will be thinking because they are abroad, they are in Kuwait, they are in this place and that place. It's going to come like boom, like Master Samanekpa will say, in their eyes. It's going to fall on them, and they might even. Do you know what happened to David? When the curse came to David after he took the wife of his loyal servant, do you know what happened? In his eyes, his own daughter was raped by his son. In his eyes, his own wife and his son slept with all his wives, had sex with them, not just in secret places. He took them one after the other to the top of the building, where the whole Israel will be seeing him having sex with his father's wives. Oh my God. David suffered emotional torture. Most of you think that because God says David's a man after my heart, that means everything went fine with him. He suffered the consequences of the problems. He suffered the consequences of his action. He saw pain. He felt pain. And that caused him heartbreaks and pain. Even to the point of his death, his children were fighting for the throne. But still, God took him. God blessed him because he was fine with God. He did right things and he confessed his sins. He was repentant. Now, not to talk about all these people who are calling themselves, defunct members of the DOS, or all these e-frogs who are refusing to change their ways or repent. People keep speaking the truth. You don't want to change. They keep telling you don't want to change. Why do you want to destroy yourself? Why do you want to kill yourself? Why do you want to get yourself into a spiritual order? Now, let me tell you something. I told you something initially. I said the spirit of man is that part of man that knows. Why the mind of man or the soul of man is that part of man that feels. Now, when you allow that part of man, which is the soul realm, which contains the mind, where you have the intellect, where you have the emotion, where you have the intelligence and all of that, where you have that realm of everything that happens in the physical, where you have the whole facilities that connects you to the physical action. When you allow that part to be corrupted by evil mindset, or when you allow that part to be corrupted by a mindset that is evil, you discover that you would actually cause the spiritual side of you, which is that part of you that knows, to be blurred or to be restricted. And then something happens to you. Spiritual forces begin to prey on your mind. And then that's when you hear people are possessed or when people are oppressed, what do you think happens? Their spiritual mind or their spiritual self, which is connected, which is the candlelight of God, which God talks about, being the spirit of man, being the candlelight of God, that is accessing the realm of the spirits where they are protected, is restricted. So they are now cut off from spiritual protection and covering. Then they are now open, their soul realm, which feels, or their mind realm, which feels, or which has information of the feeling, and which is supposed to be receiving information from the spiritual realm, is cut off from that spiritual realm because they have corrupted that spiritual realm, which is genuine and pure. So what now happens is that their physical man now become exposed to vengeance forces, which actually takes the causes or the issues that are done physical as evidences, begin to use it to torment them. That's why sometimes you see some people run mad, or some people are tormented. When some people are tormented to the point where they become oppressed, they get from the point of oppression to the point of being possessed, and then suddenly they are killed and they're destroyed. Do you know why they are possessed? That's why Jesus said something. He said, if a man whose demon have been cast away, that place becomes empty and nothing is there. The spirit which was cast away will come back to see if there's real spirit, the spirit that is pure, which is the original spirit of man that knows, which is connected to the source of his creator. He will want to check if that spirit has been reconnected to his creator, or to that source of strength that covers him and protects him from evils of vengeance forces. He checks it, and when he sees that that place is still empty and he still has that disconnection from that realm of the spirit that is his true source, what happens is this: the vengeance forces go again and get more demons stronger than it, because this time around they want to secure. At that point of getting those forces which are stronger than it, they come in, and when they come in, they now possess the man. Now this time around, the possession becomes total. The man now cannot access healing, cannot access freedom, cannot access truth. He begins to behave contrary, and he begins to intentionally do things that will destroy him. That is what happened to Pharaoh. Pharaoh is a case study. Pharaoh kept being hardened by these spirits, being hardened, because as soon as he said, "Who is that your God? I don't know him, neither will I allow Israel to go." As soon as he said that, he disconnected the spirit man from the surface of his creator. That is why you must be careful what you say. He said, "Who is this God you are talking about? I don't know your God. This is the God that created him. This is the God that he's supposed to have a connection to." As soon as he said, "I don't know your God, neither will I obey what you are telling me that your God says," he actually disconnected himself from that God who would have given him the mind to save him, which is his source. So the same way also, these people who are betraying, who are fighting Simon Ekpa and fighting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu indirectly by fighting Simon Ekpa, and then fighting the whole of Biafrans because they are fighting Simon Ekpa. Because Simon Ekpa is the spokesperson of Biafra, and Simon Ekpa is the disciple of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And so, if you are fighting Simon Ekpa, you are fighting two kinds of people. You are fighting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of Biafra, and then you are fighting Biafrans the subjects of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and who are upholding Mazi Simon Ekpa. So two forces you're fighting that are higher than you. And these two forces are endorsed by the spiritual, supreme God. These two forces are connected to the spiritual realm. These two forces are connected to the heartbeat of what God wants. Thy kingdom come. That kingdom is Biafra. Any other nation will say their kingdom. But this time around, it is Biafra, because that kingdom is what God wants to achieve in this land, in our lives. But that kingdom, Biafra, has people, the Biafran people. Now, when you stand in the way of Mazi Simon Ekpa, who is do I call him the middleman? Let me use a simple word everybody will understand, because I was trying to look for a word. That word would be too big for some people to understand. He's the middleman now. He is standing on behalf of the people and the leader before God. He represents the people and the leader. Remember, God permits the leader to be kept somewhere so that Mazi Simon Ekpa will arrange the house. Mazi Simon Ekpa walking the mind of the leader and the people supporting him, meaning that he is representing the people and the leader of the people, and at the same time he's representing them before God. That's why you see the word Njoko in his name, because he's representing this order now in this template and in this platform, as I told you. Now, when you now come against him, those men at your back is the profile of Biafra. Yes. That's why I intentionally put it, because this man, including Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I think my body is somehow blocking him. I wish I could do it in a way that I will not block him. These are the men who represents the profile. Thank you so much, my brother Orlando. You have made a vital point. These men behind me, that's why I have to put this one. They represent the profile of Biafra. Do you know what profile is? Profile covers the totality of what you represent. In fact, profile tells people about you. When you see a profile, you have actually been exposed about these people. Profile tells of your culture, tells of your origin, tells of your makeup, tells of your aptitude, tells of who you are, tells of what you are capable of, tells of where you're coming from, tells of where you are now, tells of where you're going. Profile gives details of every of your activities. So these three men behind represent the profile, and these three men have been ordained by God himself to actually give us freedom. So if you think that what Simon Ekpa did yesterday is trivial, it's something you can sweep under the carpet, just know that you are just living in a blind world, because what he did is a cynosure of what these men with him represent. Do you know how they tormented Ojukwu? Do you know how they frustrated Ojukwu? Go and check the family of those people today. Check what is happening to them. They are nobody. They are living wretched life. They keep living on lies. And the evil will continue in them. Now, those ones who have come against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, do you know what's going to happen? Now they are now projecting it to the third realm. Mazi Simon Ekpa being the third realm. Ojukwu being the first realm. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the second realm. Mazi Simon Ekpa being the third realm, representing both the two generals, the two heroes here, and the people. Because the autopilot mood is the set rule. I mean, the set. I gave you an analysis yesterday. I said, when you bring a remote control, for instance, you see the remote control, the name of it is remote control. On that remote control, you have buttons. But those buttons don't work on their own. They work based on a panel inside of that remote control that is covered, sealed inside that remote control. Now, those buttons that are pressed respond to the panel. So when you see play on that button and you touch play, the panel activates or projects something inside of it that is under that button, and it plays for you. That remote control you see is called the autopilot. You see that panel you see inside of it is the culture or the spiritual program that was given to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which was first designed by by Ojukwu. Now, all these things were programmed into that remote control. the remote control, which is the autopilot, was now handed over to Mazi Simon Ekpa. So what Mazi Simon Ekpa now does is this. He now needs to play the button because everything in that panel is the autopilot program. Autopilot program is a program. It is inside of the remote control. So all Mazi Simon Ekpa need to do is this. When it is to play, he plays. When it is to pause, he pauses. When it's everything he's doing is based on the template that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has given, who actually facilitated or fixed the program on that panel. From the revelations that came to Ojukwu. So you see, Ojukwu gets the revelation. It's just like when you come to, you have an idea. Somebody has an idea. He tells somebody, this is my idea. Can you do it for me? That person now writes the proposal document. The person who writes the proposal document writes it based on the mindset of the person who has the idea. Now, the person who now writes the proposal document hands it over to the person who is going to implement it. The people who are going to implement it are the people who are now put together, who are going to raise the funds, or who are going to give the go-ahead for the program. So that is what these three people represent. So, Ojukwu gets the revelation. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu puts it on a panel and fits it like an autopilot stuff and covers it and becomes the remote control and hands it over to Simon Ekpa. Anything Simon Ekpa does represents the panel or represents the order of things that have been put in the panel as much as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have put them there. So when you hear water, when you hear anything, it is in order with the mystery of the dragon flag, which upholds the concept or the precept of the autopilot. The autopilot is fitted with the panel, which is connected to the template Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have fused on the panel. And that panel, the details of that panel comes from the revelation that Ojukwu got. Yes, I want to post this OH 5311883. This is truly a very deep analysis. Thank you so much for that. Yes, it is a deep analysis. Because we need to open the minds of our people to understand. Our people need to understand some basic facts. That's why sometimes we have to say some things to the extreme so people will understand. Now, let me tell you something. Let me repeat that again. Ojukwu receives the information, gets the idea from the realm of the spirit. Remember, it's not a man's idea. But God proposes everything, including Hebrew Accord and all of that. God actually, let me tell you something about this. God actually was not intending restructuring for Biafra, no. Do you know why? Some of you think that that the Aburi panel in Aburi Accord, Aburi, in Ghana they call it Aburi, we call it Aburi, but it's not Aburi, it's Aburi. That's the name in Ghana language. That Aburi Accord that was signed, in Ghana, that they said Gowon should implement. It was not the will of God for Gowon to implement it. God never intended Biafra to be with those nations and operate like Aburi Accord. Yes, Aburi Accord. It's called Aburi Accord. In Ghana, it is pronounced Aburi. It is not pronounced Aburi. It's pronounced Aburi. Aburi Accord. Aburi Accord. That's what it's pronounced. So that's why I'm biting my tongue. Aburi Accord. Now that's you see that restructuring, that regional system that they were proposing. It was not the will of God. God was actually moving Ojukwu to the real thing. Do you know why God stopped this man? Stopped Gowon? Gowon didn't do that with his own eyes. Even if Britain was forcing him. It was God's order. God wants complete dissolution. Do you know that if we had continued that restructuring, maybe we would have been doing our own thing and then we'd have a central point. But God said, I want to give you a sovereignty. I want to give Biafra sovereignty because Biafrans are my people. Do you know why God removed Israel and put Israel as a different nation? He said, come out of them. He said that Israel should come out of them. Even when the Israelis started making alliances, God was angry. In the Bible, read it very well. God started punishing them. Those people started tormenting them. You know why? God wants to give Biafra a complete sovereignty of their nation because they are God's people. God has a program for Biafra. So God made that Gowon and Co. not to sign that agreement, and then God put it in Ojukwo's heart. Go and declare Biafra. But the truth about it is that God will still manifest. Do you know what happened? Some of you will say, okay, he declared Biafra and God, and we now lost the war. No, we didn't lose the war. When Moses first threw the rod on the ground and it became snake and swallowed the serpent and all of that, what happened after that? Pharaoh increased the labor of the people. Will you say that Israel lost? No. They were still in bondage. In fact, when Pharaoh increased the labor, most of them died earlier. Death was rampant. The camp was troubled. The pain was heavy. Anytime Moses comes with an idea, the pain increases. Just like what we see in Biafra land today. Anytime someone says, we are going home, this, blah, blah. And then they said this, suddenly the zoo releases their army. They go somewhere and bombard the people. They go somewhere and kill the people. The same way also, Pharaoh was killing the people. You know why? As much as God permits this evil to continue, as much as God permits them to continue their evil, God is preparing to show the world that he is powerful. Do you know what God did? God now has moved this thing to the point where the whole world will see how Biafra will be free and will be shocked how Biafra will be free. Today is 137 days more, according to the order of the program. Counts down to 137 days to the freedom of Biafra. The way God is going to do it is going to be so miraculous. That is why you see what Autopilot is doing by the program that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have designed, revealed to Ojukwu, is moving smoothly. But yet people keep, people are looking at the pain, just like the Israelis were looking at those days when they were in bondage. They will say, oh, Moses, you are making us now, they have given us more work to do. The labor is now we have to deliver twice what we are going to do. Oh, no, Lord have mercy. Moses, you are killing us. See now, because of the labor, somebody have died. This have died, that have died. They have beaten this one to death. They have jailed this one. They have imprisoned this one. They have done this one. The children of Israel were crying, but God was using it to bring glory to his name. You can never question God. You can never question God. So that thing was going on strongly in the life of Israel and the Philistines. I mean, the Pharaoh and his people. The life of Israel and the people of Egypt. Now look at it again. I told you that anything you want to do, check back history so that you can understand these things, so that you don't become a saboteur. Mr. Dazan says, no pain, no gain. Yes, no pain. You're welcome, man. You're welcome here. No pain, no gain. Yes. Now, let me tell you something. As soon as Ojukwu declared Biafra, what happened? That was the original intent of God. But in that way, God was preparing Biafra for a better way of sovereignty. Do you know that if Biafra succeeded in that period, the world would not have seen the level of impunity against Biafra people? I'm Oku. Mazi Kelechi, did you attend a missionary school, or were your parents pastors of a church? I like that question. I had to put this up. I like that question, I like this question you're asking me. Yes, I would say I'm a pastor, but I did some Bible theology. At least I did that for, about 1 year plus. So I did some theology, but that is not what is informing my inspiration, because you have many people who have gone to Bible theology who don't understand these things. Before even I went to Bible theology and all of that, I just needed to study the later, the what is on ground, to know what is basically, put down, theologically. That's why I went into it, did that program, that program, but not because I actually want to use it as a means of designing how I get my inspiration. The inspiration have been there before time, because all I've been praying all this while, even from the time when I was 15, I keep praying, Lord, I need wisdom. Teach me some things to know about some mystery things, some spiritual things. And let me tell you something, it is not boasting, but God just helps me. You see all these things I'm saying now, I didn't plan to come say them. In fact, before I came online, I was actually sitting 5 minutes to the time. I've not gotten my topic. You can't believe it. 5 minutes to the time, I've not gotten my topic. Suddenly, God takes my mind, go to someone platform on Twitter and check what is going on. And then I opened the Twitter, And then something he just told me. Now remember, I now decide to share the broadcast of his day. Now remember, he said something critical. He made some vital words from what he said. I said, "Wow, this is a spiritual." Now open Biafran's eyes, open the eyes of Biafrans to know these things. That's how I typed the topic. That's how I started speaking, and God is helping me to speak, because just like somebody the other time said, God should open my eyes. Good, I think it's Goodman or something that said that thing. God should always open my eyes whenever I want to speak, so I can speak what will impact the people. Paul was not among the immediate disciples of Jesus, but he wrote the book, more books. Yes, that's the point. Yahushua can bless people with wisdom. Yes, you're correct, my Yahushua can bless people with Aubrey's dishes. Yeah, that's it. That is it just comes. It's God's grace. So it's not me. So I'm not putting myself out here. It's just God speaking to me. Speaking through me to you. So please just accept. Don't glorify me in this matter, because it's God. Because the more I speak, the more He opens my eyes, to do the things that I need to do. I cannot take His place. I cannot take His glory. So I want Him to speak through me at all times, so that Biafrans will learn, and Biafrans will know what they need to know. And so, as I was saying, let me tell you. So now go and refuse to do that stuff. Everybody was raking, but they never understood what was happening spiritually. The same way also when Moses went to Pharaoh, free these people. Okay, I turned the whole water to blood. I turned the rivers, everything to blood. And Pharaoh came to Moses, please convert this thing. Okay, do it well. Do it well now. Do it well, please. I'll let your people go. And when he stopped it, he now worsened their labor. Do you know what God did? As soon as Ojukwu announced freedom, which is God's mind, what happened? They killed over, as at the war, maybe over 3 million people, plus the people who have died initially and people who have been dying. Over 6 million people now died. Kingsley Odumegu, you are wrong. Knowledge comes from learning, and learning more about God is key to knowledge. Yeah, you see, there are many ways of learning. Let me say something here too. Let me see what Kingsley said that prompted that statement. Maybe Kingsley said something that actually propelled that statement from Amoku. And let me see what Kingsley said. God gives wisdom. Kingsley, you are wrong. Okay, let me put it here. Kingsley, you're wrong. God gives knowledge, comes from learning. Yes, let me tell you different ways of learning. You can learn either from reading, either from studying nature, either from studying things that are happening, practical things going on. Do you know one major part of learning that we don't actually, imbibe? That aspect of learning that most of us are undermining. That is the realm of meditation. Oh my God. If you can learn from meditation, you would plunge into spiritual things that will move you to understand what you learn in the physical better, what you read in books and all of that, all of this stuff. And you know what James 1:8 said? He said, doesn't any man lack wisdom? Let him ask of God, who gives to every man liberally. He gives to them he is waiting for them to ask. He just gives to them. That means the only way it can come to pass is for you to have a strong desire, a passion within you that, God, I want to know. Just put your mind towards a particular cause. Say, Lord, I want to be a blessing to humanity. If you are the one who speaks, yes, Aubrey says you cannot remove God from anything. That's why I'm talking about meditation. Because in the place of, do you know what David said? He said, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. Now remember, the words of his mouth has come from the information that he has received, that has come into his mind. And also from the point of meditation, which is the spiritual, where he received from some information that also came in line with the things he has known from study and other things he has done. Then everything from the spiritual realm and coming and and from what he has learned physically now defines some things and gives him a perspective and understanding of what God's mind is towards a particular matter. Then he says, now let these things be acceptable to you. That means if I get this information, I must make sure they are not corrupted. They must be according to how you gave them to me. And if I learn from anywhere, whether from theology or from information around me or the things happening around me, when I learn from them, let me not misinterpret them to not give glory to your name, so that you can accept everything that I learn through meditation and through other study means. That's what David was saying. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable unto you. We sing it every time. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you. All these things are spiritually inclined. The words of my mouth comes from the things that I've thought in my heart, based on the fact of the things that I've put inside of me, whether from the external or from the internal or from any means. Then the meditation becomes significantly clear, because he's now particular about it, because meditation is a source or a means to reach into the source of life, a means to reach into mysteria, the realm of the mystery, the realm of mystery. That is it. But the truth about it is that all these things place in the mind realm. That's why I said, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. Because your heart is that part of you that longs for attention, not your mind. Remember, he didn't say the meditation of my mind. He said the meditation of my heart. The heart is a part of you that longs for attention. That is why you see that if you want to get faith, your faith comes at the realm of your heart. It doesn't come on the realm of your mind, because the realm of your mind has your emotion and your seat of reasoning. So most of the things that happen there is where you digest the information and form a mindset about the information. But in the realm of your mind, you take up faith. You see, faith operates on the realm of the mind, the realm of the heart, because the heart is that part that longs for something. It's just like if you want to love, they say, give me your heart, is it? Give me your heart simply means that part of you that longs for something, give it to me. I want to have it. And I want to do it right for you. That's why they say they always deduce love to be like the heart, represent love with the heart. Because love is that part that longs. You attach yourself to somebody from your heart. Say, I love you from my heart. I love you from my heart. You didn't say I love you from my mind. Because in the seat of your mind, you are actually, even if the heart is part of the mind, is a seat of the mind, is a part of the mind, aspect of the mind, the heart is significantly unique, because the heart is where you can actually connect to some things in a way that you become attached to it. Because when you love somebody, you love them with your heart. You don't love them with your mind. Because whatever information you have about them, actually is resident in your mind. But those information become real based on the facts of your heart. So when David talks about the meditation of his heart, it simply means that part of me, when I'm getting into the point of meditation, I must drop the concept of my mind and I must plunge into that realm of meditation through my heart. Because my heart longs for something. My heart already have an image of what it wants, or image of something. So my mind has an information, and it is set in that way. So what I need to do in my mind realm is to reason along the line of these things. But when my mind plunges into the realm of meditation, when my heart plunges into the realm of meditation, my heart accesses spiritual things because it is desiring to know. Am I making sense? So if you want to get to the place of meditation or the power to know, also try the concept of meditation using your heart. Because when you want to seek, when scripture says when you seek, you find, it is actually the concept of the heart. I'm going to be coming again on tomorrow. I'm going to be having our guests, so I may not be making much of my teachings like this tomorrow, but we're going to be having a guest tomorrow. Some of you have who listen to Prince. Yeah, naturally, say Prince. In fact, he's the right heir of the throne. He's supposed to be on the throne. He's the one who's supposed to be king. But he said, no, I don't want to be a king in a place like this. I want freedom of Biafra. He used his title to fight for Biafra. Prince Ezem Iheanacho. He's using his title. He refused to take the throneship. He's supposed to be the next king, but he refused to take it. That's why we call him Prince. That's why his name is Prince. That's why his title is Prince. Prince Ezem Iheanacho. Those of you who have been listening to him, you can testify of what the things that he's revealing to us, especially when it comes to mortal beings, in contrast with human beings, and then talking about even being a being, and then to the point of being a mortal being and becoming a human being. So that, and of course, some people from the realm of the mortal being, they become inhuman being. where they become less than animals. He's given a very unique teaching in that regard. And tomorrow he will be here by 1 p.m. Biafra time. Please connect tomorrow 1 p.m. We're going to be here live. You're going to hear him. You're going to hear what he's going to be saying. You are going to be amazed at the things he's going to be saying. Tomorrow 1 p.m. And then on Friday, I'm going to continue this teaching. I'm going to go deeper into the spiritual things, because I see that we need to begin to get all these people who are betraying and saboteurs us to understand spiritual things. I'm going to give you more teachings on the issue of meditation, on the issue of the heart, on the issue of the mind. Now remember, the mind, the heart, and all of these facilities are in the realm of the soul. The soul in the Hebrew word, the Hebrew word for soul is napash, and it means, it means the living part of man, the breath. When God breathed into man, it became a living soul, napash. It became a living soul. That means the living part of man that feels, that part of man that feels. That's what it means, napash. That's the Hebrew word for it. We're going to go deep into it, and we're going to learn more things about the mind, so that these people will begin to understand when the devil is actually making them take wrong decisions that will destroy them. Most of our people are being destroyed, and that's why you see our people running mad, our people doing wrong things. They must keep doing wrong things until they are destroyed. We don't want our people to be destroyed. We want Biafrans to be alive, to see Biafra. Thank you so much for joining. Please share this broadcast, like this video, please share it, let other people learn. Share this video on all your social media platforms, and please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, subscribe, so that whenever I come on, and also click the notification button, whenever I come on here, you are going to be with me. And of course, I enjoy every interaction. I couldn't actually follow with the interaction because there were so many things posted here, but I know it's been displayed on our respective all over the world. There's so many things that have been said here that I couldn't address one after the other because they were coming very much, so I couldn't play them one after the other, and I needed to teach the things I'm teaching. So I would have loved to take every comment and let them one after the other to see how we can analyze them, and I can come out to a point, out of these, but I'm not able to do that, because the words, I mean, the reports and messages are much, but I see vital points we are making, and please, I want us to keep interacting. On tomorrow, we're going to have the lines. You can call in, to air your views, to ask the guest questions. Emmanuel Efure, you asked a question last week, Monday, when he came around. I want you to also post that question immediately when it comes by 1 p.m. on Monday, or you can call in to ask him the question directly, the way you want to ask him. Sometimes when we type things, we might not type them the way we want to actually express them. So we're going to open the lines from onset so that you can call in and ask him the questions, and any other person can call in. The lines will be open. You can call in to actually ask questions. So tomorrow we're going to be opening the lines. On Friday too, when I'm doing this teaching, I'm going to open the lines for people to call in to ask difficult questions that have to do with the mind, the mindset of man, and the way we operate, and the things we need to do so that we can go forward, and so that when we are getting into Biafra, we are getting into Biafra with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We're getting into Biafra with real knowledge of things, not going into Biafra in ignorance, so that we can build a nation that is better and good for us. And I tell you that I've pledged my loyalty to Mazi Simon Ekpa. I've pledged my loyalty to him representing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and my loyalty is to him because he represents the two of them, Ojukwu and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And these are the people who have set the templates and who have given him the remote control, which is Autopilot, to actually program and to keep pressing the buttons that we need to press at this time around so that we can enter our freedom. Remember, this is 137 days to our freedom. Certainly, we're getting to our freedom. Mazi Simon Ekpa have told us we are working with nations of the world. We are working with different kinds of people. They are joining us in this movement, and you are going to be shocked at how we're going to. It's going to be a miracle. I'm going to tell you the issues. I'm going to still talk more on the issue of Gowon, Ojukwu, and other things that happened, which made that thing not to come to pass then. But it was a template of what is to come. And of course, I'm going to analyze it with the issue of Pharaoh and Moses and all the details of Israel, and so that you can understand the concept of history and how history is being manifested according to what when somebody said here, I think it's Emmanuel Efure or somebody else said it, that history is being manifested again here, so we're going to look at all of these things. Please join me tomorrow 1 p.m. Biafra time, and we're going to enjoy, have a good time tomorrow. Set your questions, prepare your questions, prepare the things you want to say, prepare your information and your messages, post them, and let the people begin to read them through and begin to know what you have in mind too. And of course, prepare your questions. We're going to open the lines. You're going to call. You open the line, you call and make your questions and make your contributions also. Those of you who have something to offer. It is time time that we begin to teach ourselves so that we can all be free together. The most important thing is that we must be free, and that is what we are set to do. And I want you to understand that you have a role to play. Those of you whom God has given wisdom to speak and also to speak to people, you come all out and we begin to do things together. Remember, I told you we're going to be starting very massive program soon. As we liberate Biafra, we're going to be liberating Africa. As the program is going to be coming up, it's going to be called Why Africa. We're going to be having top people all over African nation, Africans all over the world, wherever they are. We're going to have them on the platform. We're going to discuss issues of Africa, and then we're going to relate it to the significance of Biafra to Africa, so that people will begin to understand. Because we want to sell this narrative, not just freeing Biafra, but Biafra being an impact to the whole of Africa, so that Africa will be saved. And these people who have kept us subjugated will discover that, yes, we have woken up and we are set to get our freedom, and we are serious at this time. Thank you so much, all. I really appreciate you for being part of this. I love you all. I'm delighted those of you who are joining us for the first time, and I see most of you commenting. And I thank Mazi Simon Ekpa, who actually has honored me today, and honored Biafrans on this platform. I really appreciate his presence in his work and recommending this channel to us. I thank you all. I thank you all for joining. Please, I am so delighted. I'm so delighted. In fact, it's a big honor. In fact, I'm going to pop champagne today. Mazi Simon Ekpa has really made me happy today, and of course made Biafrans happy, and have opened us to more opportunities on what we're doing. And I promise, I keep saying it, I am totally 100%. Anywhere you want to get Simon Ekpa, to hear the truth about him, you can come to me. You are going to get the truth, nothing but the truth, because I will only stand for him. As we wait for our leader Mazi Nnamdi to come out, we are going to be celebrating very soon, shortly. Just keep your ears open. You're going to hear the good news soon. It's going to be released, and we are all going to celebrate. Ignore those people who are actually, fighting us, people like KNS and all those people who have actually turned their back, and Biafrans lift them. After Biafrans lift them, they turn their back on Biafra. The spirit of vengeance, the force of vengeance have been released, and those spirits of vengeance are real. So those people will be receiving it as time goes on. So it's not our battle, it's the battle of the spirits. So that is why I said the force of vengeance released. And that's why a new thing has begun in this time. Thank you all for joining. My name is Kelechi Ambrose, and this is Biafra Global Network. Please subscribe to this channel, and also share this video and like this video, and click the notification button, so that when we come up, you can receive the information. Share on all your social media platforms, including on the platform of your enemies, because your enemies need to hear the truth. If you save an enemy, you have saved somebody. That's why Jesus said that if one person who has fallen short and is saved, if one person gives their life to God and becomes saved, there is joy in heaven. So in Biafra, when we save a soul, we have saved, there is joy in Biafra, because we operate the principles of heaven. So when we save, make it a duty to save somebody, convert somebody to see the Autopilot as Autopilot by the IPOB and instituted by Mazi Nnamdi as a means of deliverance for the people. Save them. Don't argue with them and abuse them. Save them. Teach them. That's why we're doing this teaching. Teach one another. Teach others. Let them come to learn what we're doing. And then by the time they learn, God will now touch their hearts, because it's the Spirit that convinces. The Spirit of God now does its work. Just like what Paul said. Paul plants, Apollos waters, God gives the increase. So it is God that will give the increase. That is God that converts their heart. But God wants you to teach them. God wants you to invite them. God wants you to actually extend a hand of fellowship to them, so that they will be saved. It is not the will of God that any should perish, but all should be called to repentance. So we want them to repent and accept Biafra and begin to walk towards Biafra and walk towards our freedom. So we want everybody to be saved. So thank you all for joining. I bless you all. And by the name of the Lord, when I say I bless you all, that doesn't mean that I have the power, but it's the God that's blessing you. So when I say I bless you, it means that God bless you. That's what I mean. So don't say, he has made himself God. No, please, I can never be God. I can never stand in the place of God. I'm just saying God bless you real good, and God keep you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Look forward to freedom, and keep praying for Mazi Nnamdi. He's coming out soon, and we're going to rejoice. Just keep your ears open and see what's going to happen. Make sure you watch the back of your brother. Make sure you watch the back of any of our people. Make sure you watch the back of our people, and make sure you are careful where you go and the things you say, and make sure that you don't betray. Make sure you don't get yourself to become a stooge and an instrument in the hands of the enemies to try to betray our people and to betray the cause. Keep praying for Mazi Simon Ekpa, because he's doing greatly, and he's our man. He's the dragon. He is our spokesperson. Keep listening. Every order and every information coming from him, take it seriously. Just keep listening to him, and once he says it, quickly do it. 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 Because what he says is of the Spirit. It is already on the panel, that remote control. It is already in the panel, programmed by Mazin Ambikano. So when he says it, he has actually pressed a button on that remote control. So don't think that he's saying it of his own. He's saying it based on the 3 strong men behind me. He's saying it based on the 3 of them. He's saying it because that is the order. Thank you so much for joining. Let this be a blessing to us, and let your day be blessed. Join us tomorrow 1 p.m. as we meet with Prince Ezemianacho, living in America but doing great things for Biafra, an elderly man who have seen the issue of Biafra and the fight and everything, and he's doing great, and he's a king, yet he has refused his throne. He says he wants to fight for Biafra. So you're going to be listening to him, you're going to get information from him. Join us 1 p.m. tomorrow, and you're going to get more. Stay blessed, and God bless you. Rego. Share this video, subscribe, and be a blessing to other people. The best thing you can give to anybody is information that will change their lives. It's not money, but something that will change their lives, and that is what you have to do by sharing this video, both to your friends, loved ones, well-wishers, and even your enemies, so that their lives will be changed and you'll receive the blessing. Thank you so much. I still remain Kelechi Ambrose. See you tomorrow 1 p.m. Biafra time. Thank you.